The issue now that the Lord began to show me, pray, pray and pray. Pray, pray and pray for Peter Obi. Pray for Peter Obi. Pray for Peter Obi. I don't know where he is. I don't know much about him. But the Lord is telling me, pray for him. Because there is what's called his name. I see his name. His name is right there in the altars. On the altars. And these altars are not just altars. They are spiritual altars. Occultic altars. And this name that is on occultic altars is going through what's called spiritual squeezing. Pray for him. God should not allow him to fall. God should not allow him to fall. Even without being a president or be whatever, let God keep him alive in the land of the living. God should not allow evil to happen. We are not praying for anybody's downfall, but we are praying that God, the will of God and the will of God alone should come to pass. Because I'm seeing what's called monitoring, this was called tracing, this was called tracking, this was called follow up, this was called enter with him, this was called penetrate him, penetrate everywhere. This was called that message. Don't joke with the major prophet of God when the message of God is coming raw from the seat of throne. The seat of God, the throne of grace is coming raw. The way God has put in my mouth, I will prophesy. So pray for him and pray for him and pray for him in Jesus' powerful name. A lot of people that call themselves politicians will find it difficult to visit their hometown. Find it difficult to visit their hometown. And this is why they need to pray. This is why they need to do the right thing. This is why they need to wake up. This is why they need to, every way to now make sure that everything comes back the way it ought to be. We must not allow our lives, our families, our people to be in what's called a jeopardy and begin to cry and cry and cry there. We must support and make sure the right things are done. If the right things start with you and start with me, it will get to the top where it's supposed to get to, and everybody will be happy and rejoice and say glory be to God. In the name of Jesus Christ I pray. I am seeing what's called Ghana. Pray for Ghana. Pray for Ghana. Pray for Ghana. Pray for Ghana, because I'm seeing it in Ghana, the issue that I'm talking about in Ghana. I'm seeing the Ghana about to have what's called turbulent time politically. But pray for Ghana. Pray for Ghana. It's important to pray for Ghana. If you don't pray for Ghana, this thing I'm saying is going to happen. I'm seeing the same thing that is happening right now all over Africa is about to hit Ghana. Pray for Ghana. Pray for Ghana. Pray for Ghana. Ghana. Pray for Ghana. Not only Ghana. Pray for Togo. Not only Togo. Pray for Benin Republic. Not only that. Pray for all this francophone country. Pray for Cameroon, the southern Cameroon and the northern Cameroon. Pray for them, and pray for them. These are the West Africa. Pray for these people, because a great wave is about to start. Great wave about to start. Pray for this very African neighboring countries that I'm giving you the prophecy. It's important to pray, because I am seeing what's called the people that are being on the case of all these people now go back and strategize. And the Lord said, tell the people of France they should quickly, as quick as possible, begin to parlement and begin to pack their things and go back to their country and face their country and do the right thing. Concentrate on their technology, concentrate on their leadership, concentrate on the things that belong to them, because Africa is about to now take the bull by the horn. They don't care what happens. They don't care what's going to be the outcome. They're about to take the bull by the horn. And I see these people taking the bull by the horn in such a way that people say that whether life or death, that they want to face it. And I see the people right there, the French company, the France Africans now begin to now try to now, on their own to now orchestrate and begin to devise other means to now come in. But the people that now begin to emancipate themselves make it very difficult that the French cannot enter them anymore. And they make it in such a way the French government and all of that begin to now find it very difficult to have a way to penetrate all of these people. And this is the reason that the Lord has taken the major prophet of God to prophesy, because it's very important. It's very important. If you hear the sound of my voice or you are hearing the message, don't be angry about the message you are hearing. We are in the time that we need to actually look at the spiritual world and begin to present what will happen. We must pray, because this is what's called September prophecy, that is loaded to making sure that people hear the voice of God and hearken to the voice of God. Because I am seeing the issue of what's called the petroleum product will be fully, as there's going to be what's called total free of petroleum products, because they're going to mount what's called super pressure on everywhere, and that those things that have already been hiked will be released. So pray, the people in authority should do the right thing. If possible for them, they should reverse all the policy that is not favoring their citizens, because I'm seeing provocation and things that will start to happen in the realm of the spirit. And this is what is about to happen in the physical realm. And this was called the time that the people have already wake up from their sleep and they're about to take this was called taking the bull by the horn, because it's important that you understand how all of these things work, so that we, the people that knows what to do, can be able to do the right thing and stand with God and having faith on what God is about to do. I see another case. This is a case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Most will be revisited as quick as possible, but the revisiting of this case is going to be so rapid, because that issue is must to be settled between now and this month we are entering. I see the matter revisited in a serious matter. This is a serious matter, and the essence of that is because to see a way to be able to calm down the southeast, but this matter need to urgently, as quick as possible, be handled, so that everything that need to be put in place will be put in place, and everybody will be happy to continue to trust God and look up to God and seeing what the Lord has in stock for his people. Because I'm not giving you the message that is in the dream, I'm giving you the message that is also very, very spiritual, so that you can be able to know the mind of God and what God is saying about the event that's going to happen all over the world. We must pray the prayer that needed to be prayed, because this is the time that everything is about to fully unfold. We must allow what God wants to do to be done, and also whatever is not the will of God should not be done, because the dimension God is taking the people of Africa, no Africa country will be left unturned. So if you have the opinion, oh yeah, my own is different and we are this, with democracy, whatever, go and pray very well, because what the major prophet is saying is that no Africa country will be left unturned. It is going to be a competitive wave that we wave from one place to another, and it will come to what's called their own kind of democracy. Africa will build their own kind of leadership, and going back to the origin, how they were living before now, until their way of living was robbed and taken away from them, and something else given to them. I see the African people going back to their origin to go and now have their way of leadership and governance again. But this issue that we are talking about that's about to unfold in Africa must not be an issue to now which haunt religion, because this matter is also going to get to a level it will surely affect religions. We need to also pray, because what is coming is not just coming for coming's sake. What is coming is also coming to touch every sector. It's going to touch every sector. You man of God, you woman of God, you people of God, pray pray the prayer you need to pray now, because what is coming is going to now touch every aspect. It's going to touch religions, it's going to touch organizations, it's going to touch associations, it's going to touch almost every sector of life. And then you need to know that all of this thing that is coming is a thing that is already spiritually designed, that will begin to happen on the face of the earth. So, major prophet of God in the prophetic, I will have no choice but to prophesy what the Lord is showing to me. All the prophecy you hear from my mouth now is what God is already showing to me. So we need to pray, we need to trust God, we need to be in faith and in confidence of what God and God alone can do. Don't forget that God will do nothing except first of all reveal it to his servant, the major prophet of God, because major prophet of God is here to now when you commitize what is there in the realm of the spirit. And the Lord now took me back to the prophecy he showed me few months ago, and I began to ask the Lord, where are you taking me to? The Lord said, my son, don't be worried, I'm taking you to Pacific Ocean. And as I was looking at the Pacific Ocean, I look at the other place, they call it Atlantic Ocean, and the Lord took me from Atlantic Ocean to Pacific Ocean, from Pacific Ocean to Mediterranean Sea to blue water. From blue water I enter what's called 1818. As I enter 1818, and the Lord took me to what's called spiritual warfare, and I enter into what's called spiritual success, and the Lord took me straight away down the sea, and I entered right there down the sea, and I began to see things packed in the sea. My God, what's this sea all about? Is sea a warehouse? What is all these equipments I'm seeing here? What are they doing here? And the Lord said this was called submarine. It's already right there in the seas and the shores of Africa. In Ghana there is there at 1818, and the blue water, and this was called the Pacific Ocean, and this was called the Atlantic Ocean, and this was called Mediterranean Sea. And I see myself right deepest in the deepest ocean. I asked the Lord, I said, this ocean you took me into, why are you showing me all of this thing? He said, say it because I am the God that made the heaven and earth. I created these people that bring these equipments and bring these very war equipments and all of these things you are seeing underneath the water. But I am showing you all of these things not for anybody to fear, but for people to pray and know that the intentions of the enemy and their agents and their cohorts are not the best for us. But the will of God and the intention of God is what is good for us, and we must continue to look at the will of God and what God has in stock for us. We must seek the will of God and seek the face of God. We must not now begin to now look at, oh yes, this, that. We must try our best to make sure that we concentrate on what God is showing to us, so that the victory of God will continue to be our portion. We are people of God, and we continue to be the people of God all the days of our lives. All the days of our lives. So because what I'm seeing that is in the water African shore, especially the West Africa, what is in your shore, oh my God, is not an easy thing. I see different colors. I see American flag right there in the sea. I see Chinese flag right there in the sea. I see this was called French colors and the French flag right there underneath the water. And I enter the water and I see myself in a place called Lomé. From their water I enter down deep the water, and I enter the water and I shuttle from there, and I come myself and I see myself right there in Bonny Island. I don't know what this all about. This was called Bonny Island, right there in Bonny Island. And I enter myself and I enter into the water again. I penetrate from the sea and I move straight away, and the Lord took me to what's called the sky, the space. And I enter into the space, and as I enter into the space, I see what's called a satellite now fixed on South and the West Africa satellite. I see this satellite on West Africa, and I begin to ask the Lord, what's this satellite all about? And the Lord said, this satellite is all about what's called monitoring the African, especially this West African coast, monitoring the West African coast. And I'm seeing people walking on the street, and I'm seeing what's called a scanning machine, scanning through the space, to scan through the African coast, to scan everybody walking on the road, and begin to scan to a point of trying to scam people's face. I told you people that's what's called a technology that is coming, and this technology is already in vogue, and this is what's called the work of 6G. This I moved from 4 to 5, from 5 now is on the level of what's called 6G, and this 6G is already operational. And people who have not discovered what's called the work of 6G, this is what's called 6th generation 6G, and this 6G is already being used to now monitor everywhere, scan everywhere, checkmate everything, and know what is happening anywhere in the West Africa. In the West Africa. In the West Africa. This was called a full-time scanning of the people, and nobody on the road that is going anywhere or anywhere, sitting anywhere, talking anything, planning anything that is not under scan. Rakato brakato seteke. I begin to ask the Lord, this scanning machine, are they spiritual or they are physical? The Lord said they are physical. That is why the launch was called the North Pole, the East Pole, the West Pole, and was called the South Pole of the moon and the space. And launching was called a satellite on the space. You see the one that India just discovered recently, how they launched this thing in the West Pole, and this thing they just did is what's called another breakthrough in the what's called monitoring and the satellite monitoring of the face of the earth. The Lord will not say anything or do anything except the verse 4 reveal what wants to happen to his servant, the major prophet of God. And I'm seeing people in the banking sector, Malaku Parasotege, people in the banking sector, quickly, as quick as possible. If you are in the banking sector now, begin to upgrade yourself, because I am seeing what's called people no longer interested in coming to the bank because of policy that is about to introduce. Dasketiko paradalajo zeketora gatura bakatereke prakatika.